what was I gonna do? I was gonna make something to eat because I'm fucking starving, but I don't know what I was
That's a
gonna do.
hungry boy.
Chunky boy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast. So today we are going to be doing another tournament preview episode. It's for the GBHL 90 event that's upcoming this weekend. Is it Keep It Secret, Keep It Safe? In Worcester, ran by a friend of ours, Leon. So we're all going to be going up there tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow morning. So we're going to be running through our lists. Most of us haven't seen each other's lists yet, so we're going to be seeing what everyone thinks. So we're going to get started, first of all, with James. And
Why going to be first on all of them? Fine. I don't like the pressure.
It's the most cursed list of them all. So, James,
Yeah,
you run us through
I was
your
kind of
list.
hoping I would have the highest model count, but I actually don't because some guys taking ruffians, so I'm probably going to be outnumbered.
Yeah,
Which is quite disappointing. But yeah, it's probably the most simple list you could ever come across. It's got 3 might. You just fire as many blowpipes as possible, and
What is
hopefully,
your list, James? What is it?
what do you mean? What is? Oh right, yeah, because people can't see that. I
Yeah.
forgot that last time. Yeah. So I've got the Wozes, the Wild Men of Druidan. I've got Garnbury Garn with 15 Wozes, and then I have 4 warbands of just 11 Wozes. It's 60 models, so quite a lot. And yeah, you just churn out the shots and hope people die, and then hopefully you kill enough you can swarm around, trap, and kill. But if you come up against a decent number, D6 army, a lot of the time it just kind of scraps through you, sadly.
So you used this at an event, didn't you? Was it an 80?
Yeah, it was an 80 in Exeter. It was at 500 points, so I had 49 then. And to be fair, it did really well at everything it could.
So what did it come unstuck against?
That's what I was wondering.
The Lords of Battle scenario. And then not being able to kill Grimbeorn.
Yeah.
The list probably struggles with that. I reckon.
That was about it though.
Do you think that the 3 might is a problem, right?
Oh, it's totally a massive problem, but it's part of the fun of the list. You have to decide when you're going to use your 3 might points in the game, because he does have heroic accuracy, which can be massive, because you can affect about like 25
Wait, so
models.
you've got 3 might, and
Yeah.
you're using one of them on heroic accuracy.
Oh yeah, because you can instantly delete someone's hero.
I mean, you're only really calling them on either moves. Does he have strike? No. So you're using
No, he's got March, and he has
No, I get that. I just thought it was funny that you've only got 3 might, and you just like gonna call 3 heroic accuracies with that 3 might.
Say you come across like a Suladan or an Aragorn. It's a really good idea because everyone else can just so basically call the accuracy, and with those 25 guys that you affect, you basically almost kill that hero, and you'll probably kill 1 or 2 of the guys in the way, which means that the rest of your blowpipes can just have less in the ways going at that hero to finish them off.
Or you can just take the ones from the sides that aren't affected by it to get rid of the fodder in front of that hero, and then you fire all the ones that have then a clear shot and just delete that person.
Yeah, I guess you're hoping you play against evil because they have the hatred.
Yeah, the hatred of Uruks, goblins, and orcs is pretty savage in the games I've played. Like, even when you're playing against Morannons, it's like, cool, I'm winning on 5s and just kind of walk through them quite easily because it's the same fight.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually deleted a hero with this list?
Have I deleted a hero? Yeah, I killed Sharku in 1 turn.
What class hero?
Not the beefiest of heroes, though. I was
still a D6 hero. You had 3 in the ways.
Okay.
I think I remembered you saying that at the event you got like 1 turn in all of your games where you actually got them all to fire. Was that right?
No, I did get quite a few turns. But yeah, it was the very first turn of the first game of the tournament. I was playing against Helm's Guard at Lords of Battle, and it was a horrific turn of shooting, but I did get a fire every single one, but I missed about 2/3 of them because just dice.
Was that on 4s?
No, I was on 3s.
3s. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
This list is So we forgot to mention that this event does use veto scenarios
Just gonna
through the
mention.
pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this list, if you take it to a normal event, people may be a bit more of a head scratcher. Why have you taken this? There's scenarios that you can
Yeah.
totally just insta lose on.
Which
However,
I found out very easily. Yeah.
yeah, the veto system for the event does help either really high model count armies, like James's 60 model count, or it helps low model count armies
Yeah.
more than kind of your mid range, your midpoint or mid model count armies,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
you can the extremes then become less swingy. I mean, they're still swingy, but it's just less. You can try and avoid the worst of the worst. Saying that, I do think good proper play versus the Woses you will struggle with. If a player does know how to maneuver around them well enough, I don't think, because to get all your 60 shots in one turn will be hard.
Oh, definitely. But I think that's the advantage of having 60 models and everyone has a blowpipe. You don't need to get all 60 in.
Yeah. There's essentially going to be, yeah, you don't want to play D6. I think there's a certain model count that I think you actually need to have to actually do well against your army, which is quite
Yeah.
scary. I think if you start to have below the, like if you're a D6 army and you start to have below, say, at 600 points around, I want to say even, I want to say
I'd-
like 35, 40,
Yeah,
but
that's
then
what I'm thinking as well. If you
I
have
think
anywhere below 30-ish, you can't do much.
yeah,
Elves,
I think you're just gonna
standard.
you get it. Well, blinding light
Like,
is obviously a big
Unless,
thing.
of course, yeah, you have blinding light.
Yeah.
I get this list, but I think 600 points may be a bit too high for it. Like I could see it maybe at like 500 or less, but 600. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit too high for this.
I played against
Just
it.
because of the might.
Well, yeah, and other armies will have kind of high model counts as well, and
True.
people will be able to bring, more tools and might not really care about your shooting.
What are
that
they
much.
using the tools on in the army? That's what I mean. Like they've got no target.
Yeah, true, but these guys they just die so easy. Like, and they aren't cheap. Like 9 points each. Like,
Yeah, they are pricey.
yeah, I don't know. They're decent, but yeah, if the low might I think will be a problem. You can't really call many moves, and people will be able to just once it gets close, they'll be able to dictate like all the movement. Yeah.
Do they fight 3?
Yeah, fight 3.
Okay, because I played against them at a 450 point event. I had Azog's Hunters, so we were equal fight. But even in combats when they did win with the Hatred Orc, I was just still killing way more. Even though like at 450, I think I had roughly 38 models. But like even though I'm no defense, I was just killing a lot more reliable.
Sounds like that person should definitely have won that game against Hunter Orcs. That is like
I mean,
a
with the
dream
blowpipe.
matchup almost.
Yeah.
You've got equal attacks. That's really surprising because Hunters have 2, but the Woses have more models and they've got spears.
Unless I get
And the blowpipes then would have gone 5s as well.
Yeah. I was lucky to not lose that many.
Yeah.
But then while he was walking towards me, I was able to shoot him with like 20 bows almost.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. If this list plays against good shooting itself, because obviously it's only 12-inch range. I mean, 12-inch range is still good for a missile weapon, but if a list that has, spam shooting
Yeah.
spam shooting at
D3.
24-inch range. Yeah, the D3.
Yeah, I don't know. I've tried to work the statistics of it out, and I think overall it genuinely works out. You can just overwhelm them with your number of shots. Because if they're standing still, then you are getting the full number of shots in.
The other
And
thing
they're
is
not able to kill enough to stop you.
the other thing is because you have like no other heroes, and once you break, you don't have any heroes to like call stand fast. And
Yeah.
the courage 3, right?
Courage 3, yeah.
Even with courage 3, like you've only got Gambrigan who can do the stand fast, and then
Yeah, I experienced that in my last game. Exeter, Garnbury Guard just ran away, and then I rolled badly for my courage tests, and
Yeah.
the army just fell apart.
yeah, because like other horde armies, they might have they will have other heroes that can actually help with the stand
Yeah.
fast they break. So
What's their army bonus?
So you can take the war bands of between,
Oh,
I think it's
that's it.
9 and 12 models. Other armies that have elven cloaks don't get their elven cloaks.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's essentially, do you do enough damage within shooting? If you don't, and you
You
play
don't.
against a good army, if you play
You
against an army that has a semi, a high enough model count, I think you will struggle. But I mean, with 60 shots, hitting on threes, staying still, rerolling ones, you'd hope that you do enough damage. But there will be games where you just don't, and it will just go
Yeah,
really
definitely.
bad.
Your positioning needs to be spot on as well because the range is so short. It's like
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the like KG
it's
shooting
literally
play.
just literally just one turn of shooting that you just have to get right. You just have to nail it, and then
Yeah, it can instantly win you the game though if you do get it right. That's the thing.
really, yeah, I don't know. Shooting for me, shooting's always underwhelming, but that's probably because of my shit dice. But
It can be very
Like your 12
unreliable.
crossbows from the previous
Yeah.
weekend.
yeah, basically.
I'll be
Um,
intrigued to see where this finishes. If the veto scenarios
Yeah, I'm
really do
intrigued to
help it
see
that
whether the
much.
veto will help it or actually disadvantage it.
James, this is your time, okay?
It should
Because,
help
I mean,
it over.
I'm never
No,
going to get
veto
to play
definitely helps it.
something like Flash by Moonlight, which is the best scenario for the army, because no one's ever going to let me have it.
Yeah, but then you can veto stuff that you can't win, like
Then
contests.
again, I can veto things like contests like Lords.
So
So-
the way
Like-
that the scenarios are structured, roughly there's about 2/3 of them are to do with like maneuvering and objectives, and the other third are like roughly killing, more or less.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you're getting 2 and 1, you're vetoing the killing one. So even if they veto one of the take the quadrants or flip the objectives or retrieval or destroy the supply, even if they're getting rid of all those, you still have domination. You still have whatever. Like there's so many objective scenarios. Breakthrough. I mean, what are they going to do against you in breakthrough?
Yeah,
Quick question
definitely.
about the scenarios. Does it say in the pack whether it's a veto for round one of the pool?
You veto the pods.
scenarios,
You veto the pods, not the. You don't just pick 3 random scenarios from each
Yeah.
pod.
So you veto the pools. Okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting. So like pool 6 for you, for example, James, I guess is pretty bad in general, but you have to play one of them. So there's kind of no
What's in 6 again?
that pool.
assassination, fog, and clash.
No, that's really
Yeah,
good.
That's
just
a
get
really
rid of
good one, to
assassination.
be honest.
Well, they-
because
So they veto clash, and now
Yeah.
you have to play,
I play
either
fog.
assassination.
yeah,
And then
Fog is great.
So they keep their heroes back, and then
I do the same though.
you just kill your army.
Just
James knows that he just
No.
has to keep Garn alive, and he wins the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
'Cause
I guess you
he's
both
got an elven
need
cloak
heroes
as
at the
well.
back
So
of the
if you
board.
hide him at the back of the map,
then-
he's just invincible, really, as long as he doesn't run away.
just watch out for Crabane.
We don't care about those.
Or crows. So any
Pesky
closing comments
crows.
on James's list, or are we good to move on?
Good to move on, I think.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
go.
I think so.
Next up, we have Sam's rather familiar with a twist, Survivors and Arable
Oh,
Reclaim.
he's got Hilda again.
Sam.
Yeah, so I am taking Survivors of Lake Town and Erebor Reclaimed Green Alliance. So my leader is Bard. He's on horse with armor. He's got 7 militia with shield, 5 with bow and spear, and then 3 militia with shield and spear. He's got Sigrid and Tilda and Alfred with him as well. I've then got just a Lake Town militia captain. He has 6 with shield, 4 militia with bow and spear, and then 2 militia with shield and spear. Again, Elliot has. Oh no, Elliot totally hasn't done it wrong. They do just have spear. So that's correct.
top of
And
it.
then Hilda, I've got Hilda with 2 militia with shield, 2 militia with bow and spear, and then on his own, Thorin on goat. Without Orcris this
Nice.
time because I
Sweet.
couldn't fit the points in.
Fair enough. No captain
Sweet.
again on the shield.
Yeah,
no
again,
shield
it's-
again the captain.
No
I said that wrong way
captain on
around,
the
didn't I?
shield,
Yeah.
So yeah, no shield on the
Thanks, mate.
captain. Again, it's just for points. I just wanted to hit as many models as possible. Essentially, 38 at 600 is. I don't think it's not crazy amounts. Bear in mind, it's primarily a fight 3 army.
There's
However,
a really big asterisk there, though, as I'm sure you're about to allude to.
Yes.
yes. So essentially, the whole point of this list, as I think it's fairly evident, is that you have 2 fight 6 free combating heroes, and if you get the initial charge with them both being mounted, and you charge 2, combat with both, kill 2 with each, charge 2 more each, kill them again, and you instantly start removing 8 models a turn off the table with just the heroes. The balance of model count does swing fairly fast. Because I'm green allies, Thorin banners himself, which is a key important with Dubakar, and then Bard. Well, Bard never gets the banner because he just doesn't get it in his list. And then, so those 2 are hopefully killing 8 a turn. If
Mention
I get
about
the charge
Bard
off.
as well. He usually really doesn't care that much about spending might to secure kills to get combats off and stuff. So it doesn't really matter if he doesn't have the banner in most cases.
Yeah, so spending might on him isn't the biggest, like Elliot said, it's not the biggest thing in the world, because essentially you have Alfred, who, if Bard isn't needing to spend might on his either combat or killing rolls, Alfred can give might to Sigrid and Tilda to essentially be a free move, because they're always going to be safe behind the lines. But if he is spending might on his moves, Alfred can then give might to him, and I still have Hilda and the captain, which is 3 mights worth of heroic moves to call heroics. Hilda, I think for 30 points, she is actually really good. Her being courage 5, as well as giving the +1 to wound within 3 inches if
Courage
others
5.
charge.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. She's courage 5. She is only fight 2, going up to fight 3 within 12 inches of Bard, which is a bit shit. However, I think the courage 5, if you need to pass a key courage test, she's pretty dispensable. I mean, she's got 2 wounds. I think she's 1 wound, 2 fate, or 2 wounds, 1 fate. I mean, and she's D3, but she's pretty squishy.
Is she 30 points?
She's 30 points, yeah,
So the
for
fact
courage
that
5.
Yeah, so for courage 5, and the fact that you get a hero with like an aura. So if you think of like Halith, for example, where you can get Théoden and Aragorn up to fight 6 and 7, you get a really good aura effect with Hilda being +1 to wound, which is really, really strong. And you don't even have to directly get her into combat in order to get it, because you can spear support and get it.
No, so she has to charge.
Ah.
So it's she has to charge a model, and it's only models that also have charged. So
I thought you might spear support her on the back. Is that am I thinking of a Dunland hero that can support?
Yeah, Frida.
Yeah, Frida Tolspear.
Frida. They're both women and they have spears.
Yeah, so I have to charge, and it's only the models that I have charged. So spear supports don't get the +1 to wound, so it's only 1 dice out of your 2 that if you're in a fight.
But if she dies, you don't really care. If you have if you're charging her into the thing that you're trying to kill, or you just charge her into the infantry model next door, and then you get it. So
just makes your warriors that little bit more scary, to be honest. I mean, they're only fight 3, but a fight 3 this warrior that's D5 walking into you with +1 to wound just because you charged. I mean, it can if someone has a bad turn of rolling and they just start losing against Lake Town, with the +1 to wound, they can just go down, never mind lose models from Bard and Thorin. So essentially, this list wants to break the opponent quick so that afterwards it can then go and do the things it needs to do, whether that's stick models on objectives, whether that's try and then shield for the rest of the game to let me get to somewhere. And I mean, the captain is still a fight 4 within 12 inches of Bard. He's D5 base. He's strength 4, can piercing strike up to strength 5. Again, he's just a move battery that can also kill stuff as well.
Yeah, having played against this quite a lot in our many practice games in Aldershot, for me, the most annoying thing. So I've used mostly against this either strength 4 stuff, so Azog, Hunter Orcs and stuff, or strength 3 with like the Easterlings. And the most annoying thing is just you being D5 everywhere with a 12-inch banner. So, like you say, like late game, you can just shield up and try ride out the combat wave, with Bard and Thorin trying to win you games. Just being D5 is just so good when you can have this many models with those 2 Fight 6 heroes. Being able to shield, and you probably won't die. Like compared to Army of Lake Town, it's just completely different in that sense. And yeah, you don't get quite as many models, but you still get a hell of a lot. So the D5 is really strong, I think.
So this is essentially, do I take this list or do I go full spam? So you drop Thorin and then you take Percy and you get a full warband of 12. So it goes up, you get 10 more models, sorry. So it goes up to 48 models with Percy instead of Thorin, which, although again, like we said, the higher model count lists are probably going to benefit from the veto scenarios more. It's not to say that the healthy, like good-ish model counts won't benefit at all. Like mine will still benefit from picking scenarios that if I'm playing against a shooting list, I can pick one that's close up. If I'm not playing against a shooting list, I still have 11 bows plus Bard that I can sit at the back of the map with and still cause damage.
You can choose which scenarios you can exploit having Bard and Thorin in the most, which is ultimately
versus the list. Essentially,
I think Thorin becomes more effective with the veto as well, because people are going to have more skew lists, for example, like higher model counts and things. So he becomes way more effective with his free combat.
Yeah.
So I think that this is exactly what you wanted your list last week to be. I repeatedly said over the weekend, and you just replied with a wry smile, thinking of this moment when you divulged your list. Sam, you only have one big threat. Saruman's just going to, at most, stop your opponent. And you just looked at me, smiling. You didn't care that you went so badly on day one. You brought it back.
He cared. He cared.
Oh, yeah, he cared, but he knew,
My man
what was coming.
Triggered.
He knew really what was coming. The thing with taking 2 hitters is that if one gets neutralized by a caster, you still got the other one.
Still got the other one running around. Yeah.
Until you play a triple transfix.
Which at 600, you're not.
600, yeah. Not many things at 600 are going to have. They might have a hero that's on par with them, but you're not really going to run into much that can like stop it all game unless you're playing like Angmar at 600 points, which is like a bit weird. You run into like a Witch King, but then if you do, then you've still got the other one, which just absolutely deletes the rest of the army. So,
yep.
There is really wish about the 10 points for Orcrist. I think that's really, really value. Really, really good value for the terror.
I do agree. The Orcrist is really nice because given that Elven Blade in the list, in case there is a Fight 6 hero in the opponent's list,
Hoth Emperor.
It's
only 10 points.
It is really good. But I think to fit 10 points into this list is actually really awkward because
it's 2 less models.
You've already dropped so low by taking Thorin. It's like you can't really afford to go any lower. Yeah,
because two models. If you just take a shield or if you just take a spear, they're 6 points each, which is then 12. So then you have 2 extra points, which can't really go anywhere else unless you turn shield models into shield and spear. So it essentially dropping to 36 to then get Orcrist, which I think it's if I could play good armies the whole event and it wouldn't matter, essentially, because the terror becomes less. Oh, yeah, the terror.
I think it's mainly there for the roll-offs, personally.
Yeah, it's there for the roll-offs, and I guess if I charge 2 warriors and I free combat and they have, they have a gore bag in the open. You charge Gorbag and you do 2 wounds. If he doesn't fate it, you get D3. So it makes the the bulging like aspect of this much better. But
do you consider the children? Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
No. Do you consider the children undroppable?
Yes, unless you're playing at such low points with the survivors. But I don't think you'll be playing unless you're playing like 450 with survivors, which I think if you do that, fair play. I just wouldn't. they are essentially undroppable because the fight
Yeah.
6 buff and the free combat just gives it so much. I mean, they are 30 points, which
Yeah.
is what,
is not-
five guys with shield or 5 guys with spear.
It also, though, it's the flexibility of having them at the back of the line. Like I've seen when
Yeah.
we've played lots of times, you give the kids the might, and it gives Bard and Thorin, even like the captain, like you would think he can just hit back and be the, heroic move, guy, but it gives him flexibility to get into the lines in spots where you want the strength 4. So he doesn't have to be so careful about his positioning. You've got the kids to do that, which is good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
fair
you
enough. I've never played against this, so
You really
just,
don't want, you really don't want Bard or Thorin to ever be calling heroic moves because they need to be flexible enough to go where they need to go. If you
Yeah,
get
having
to the point where
two-
they're calling moves,
having 2 heroes that can do fair combats is can be scary.
Yeah, on the Orcris thing, I think it's one of those tricky list building decisions at 600 points where it's one of those things that you'll run into a situation where if you don't take it, you'll wish you had it, but then you'll take it and then you won't run into a situation where you need it and then you wish you didn't take it. So
I don't know. I think it's always useful.
yeah,
Like-
the roll off potential is really good. The
Yeah.
Elven Blade. It's just some points levels adding Orcris just comes naturally. Like it just works.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
fits
no, I
in
get
really
that.
well.
extra.
I get that it's hard to fit in,
The
but
thing is, at 600, you have to make sacrifices.
That's
But I
it,
feel like this list has only made an Orcris sacrifice.
That's not too shabby. Yeah.
I think there's an
It's,
argument to say
it's
that the
ridiculous how
model
much
count-
you fit in.
the model count is potentially a sacrifice because
Yeah.
38 models at fight 3.
Defense
I
5.
mean,
It's like Orcs, but
D5,
they have a
yeah.
6-inch banner and
With
2
a 12-inch banner. Yeah, with a 12-inch banner at D5. You can probably outlive and then outkill. You're probably gonna
you can.
Yeah.
The only problem is there's some lists which I know are going to this event, which I am semi scared for. One may be coming up later, so I won't say it, but there definitely is some list. I think what am I going to do because they have more models, they're higher fight, they have a better strength, they have 2-3 hitters in themselves, so they can break me just as fast as I can break them.
That's a cock tease, Adam.
It really is.
It might be yours or Ash's list. You never know.
Dirty. It's definitely not mine or Ash's.
Yeah, Sam, I'm wondering if you might have a point this weekend where you think I've done exactly what I did last weekend and I may have chosen the wrong decision again.
Yeah, that's the thing. I initially sent my 48 model list without Thorin into
My man
Liam,
tweaked after he sent it to Liam.
Yeah.
and then I literally, it must be like 2 a.m. I was like, no, I've got
Woke
to
up in a
swap.
cold sweat.
I've got to swap. I've got
Yeah.
to swap. And then
Neck deep in
I
the numbers.
swapped. I swapped the next morning. I was like, I just think, like I said, the veto scenarios do really help for high model count lists, but they do help just a little bit less for kind of this model count. So I think if I play it right, Thorin gives me enough where I can claw back such a that model count deficit, or even in scenarios where having just that one cav model is really important. Just be able to like slingshot up the board off a combat to get the relic and retrieval. I wouldn't have that if I was playing the 48 model one.
I will say though, if they both get dismounted, which is not unlikely, they're only like on defense 4 mounts, then the hero combats aren't nearly as good.
Yeah.
The only thing is that for Thorin, definitely not, because obviously he's goes D5, which unless you're playing Magic, I mean, they're going to be behind my lines until I reach combat, and then I guess people could shoot into combat, which is fair enough. Becomes a little bit more risky. You save it's 4 to hit, then you're going 50-50 me you, then you're going up down, then you're killing that. So it's not always for certain. As well as if you actually dehorse Bard, because he doesn't get his banner, you can then just spear spot him, and he'll always get a banner then. Which, although he might not be killing 2 guaranteed every turn, he's more reliably winning fights.
He's still
instead
buffing
of
the
just-
army.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only, I guess it's a small benefit of dehorsing Bard, not Thorin, because he already gets his banner. But
You, you become a much less like, killy list, but you still have it's like if Thorin and Bard are like 100% heroic combating on mounts, if that killing potential goes down to like 60%, well, you're still maybe, killing quite a lot and, getting through gaps with them and stuff. So like the killing potential is still there. So it isn't like it's lost.
It just becomes a lot more stationary, really. That's all.
Yeah.
I think if I get one turn, or no, so if I get the first turn, they don't dismount because I'm just not. I haven't put my heroes in a vulnerable enough position, and I get that first turn off and I kill 8, and then they then dismount dismount one of them, and I kill another 4 with one of them. Just those 12 models alone, I think, can just be enough to be so much of a deficit that it's hard to come back from. Like you can't. It's hard to turn the tides at that point.
If you do that against my list, then I'm really sweating.
So this list literally demolishes Dragon Emperor so bad, because killing 8 Easterlings first turn.
I probably just chuck Ratabi into one of them and hope I win.
Yeah, but because they're mounted, I'm always going to get that first thing, and if I play it right, your Ratabi's not going to be in combat. Ratabi's not going to be in combat. So even if I call the two combats, she can master battle, but she's not in combat with anything. So it's potentially killing 8, and then as long as I don't put them near Ratabi, and I say when I move off and I tag her up, and then I'm outside of 6 again, it just becomes a downward spiral of just what can you do kind of thing.
Yeah, they don't like fight 6 heroes, which is what you've got.
No.
Yeah, I just can't wait till like there's the round 1 draw, game 1, and Sam's playing something and he realizes, shit, I wish I hadn't resubmitted my list.
Sam's playing the Great Beasts.
I just see it right on his face.
Getting instantly trampled.
Yeah,
there might be one list which is on here which I don't want to play with this list, but we'll see.
Well, speaking of, shall we move on if there are no other closing comments from anyone about Sam's list? Moving on then, we do have Adam with his Serpent Horde cheese, who I'm guessing is who you were referring to. Adam.
I wouldn't say a pure list is cheese. It's not like I've done any naughty alliances.
Yeah, it's not cheese.
But yeah, it's a list that I'm building towards Ardacon with.
Are you going to Ardacon this year? I totally didn't know.
Yeah.
You're both going.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Nice.
Yeah. It's really awkward to read it on the screen because I've made the warbands pretty balanced. So I'll just read out roughly what it is. So we've got Suladan, an armored horse, Haradrim King with war spear on horse, and Haradrim Chieftain, who naturally comes with a spear. Then we've got 12 Abrakan Guard. We've got 9 bows. We've got 13 bow spear, so 22 bows in total. We've got 4 spear, 3 Serpent Riders with war spear. They're the fight for Cav. And 2 Watchers of Kana for a little bit of terror mitigation. So the principle of this list is to do the exact opposite of what my Eagles did last week, and actually be solid and play the game strategically and not rely on luck. So yeah, it's quite a static force. I mean, you do have the march, but you don't really want to call it with Suladan. You can call it with the Chieftain. You've got a little bit of Cav, but what you've got is a block of 22 bows and plenty of guys in there who can really hit. You've got fight 4 in 12 fatties and 2 of the Watchers of Kana, as well as the cavalry. So yeah, it just grinds. It plays the game well. It loses lots of models, but it kills lots more. So that's the list.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not want to play this with the bows. So they're strength 2, 24-inch, and they reroll 1s to wound.
Yeah, I mean, the bows aren't there to actually kill much. They're there just to force the opponent to you, and then you play your game with your spear line and with Suladan.
With 22 of them.
22 bows not to kill much is
most people are going to be
a little bit of an
worried.
understatement, I feel like.
The bows are great.
It's interesting. So the only list I knew about before this chat was actually yours, Goble, because
Yeah.
you divulged and I was just laughing. And I was just thinking, you know what's funny? Is you'll come towards me because I'll outshoot you. And then when you get
Yeah.
in range, I will be like, oh God, what do I do now? Because I'll have 22 bows. I might have shot down like 8 of your guys. But then you got 50 odd dudes like who are out shooting me. So I
Yeah.
have 2 options, like run away from you or just try and get in combat.
You just got to run at me, I think. Quite an easy choice, I feel.
March one turn and brave it.
Doesn't even need to march. He's got a cav.
Just take it.
Yeah, just run at me, outfight me with your 6-inch banner. Slowly come through.
Sam, so why are you afraid to play this list? Tell us.
Yeah, so this list I think is yeah, I'm scared. It's a case of because the only thing I didn't realize is how many Fight 4 models are in this list. You've got 6 African Guard,
You got 12, so 12
Wow.
fatties, 12,
so 12 fatties.
12 ninjas, sorry, 2 ninjas, and 3 riders. So plenty.
Okay, so the only thing that I thought you had, which you don't, which makes me less scared, is the Betrayer.
I also thought it was going to have the Betrayer.
How many
I
models
guess,
would you get if you put in the Betrayer? Sorry, Sam.
So
yeah.
you take the Betrayer instead of the Harajim King. The Betrayer is 130 points, the Harajim King 75. So that's
Sacrifice a lot of models doing that.
65 models, 65 points, which is essentially
5 models.
That's a lot of models to lose right there.
it's more models than my list. It's about 10 models, 9 to 10 models.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
It's definitely not worth it, especially if you're taking fatties.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
But the thing is, Thorin and Bard would shoot through these guys. I think he'll be worried about those.
That's if they make it there with their horses, though.
Yeah, there's no chance
Well, yeah,
they'll
I
make
mean,
it. They're
just
still
keep
mounted.
them. Yeah,
Well,
you just keep them behind lots of
the only
guys.
thing is, I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy for saying this. Is there a potential that I outshoot this list with Bard Strength 4 bow?
Nah, Bard's way too inconsistent.
How many bows do you have?
It's 11
Adam
plus
grinning
Bard.
as he asks that question.
11 times
Because-
2 is what I have.
Yeah, but with
and he
winning
reels
on
once the wound.
So he has to go through mine the ways, which are D5, him winning on 6s, and then
Yeah.
but he's D4 regardless, which means I think if I just use Bard to kill the Fight 4 fatties needing force to wound,
Mhm.
it becomes a lot less scary. And I think depending on I mean it totally depends on how each person plays, but I could totally see a world where I somehow outshoot this because of potentially positioning, or if Bard just kills 3 off the bat, because I've got heroic accuracy with Bard. If I heroic accuracy through the back line or into the back line and then kill, it's probably going to be what 2, 3 with normal dudes, and then potentially 2 with Bard. That's say what 5 dead. And
What's
then
Bard's defense?
D5.
Not enough.
This match is destined to happen.
So I
Definitely.
would
It'd be
just target
hilarious.
Bard.
Yeah.
If you can shoot
Yeah.
me, I can shoot you. So if you're shooting my fatties, I'm just going to shoot you, and I don't care about my fatties.
Would you put your fatties behind?
I'm not going to tell you because we're going to play each other.
Well, if your fatties are in front, which they should
Skirmish
be, you
tactics.
can't shoot Bard because
Yeah.
I'd always be out.
I think though,
Um,
you said that you don't care about your fatties. I think
They are. You do.
he
if you-
definitely does.
He's in your head.
You really do.
So in a pitched battle, I do. But if we're playing a shooty game, then I'm not too fussed because as soon as you get to the point where you realize that Bard's now on like no fate and 2 wounds, and he's demounted after like a turn or 2 of shooting, then I don't think you'll continue shooting fatties.
Yeah, I don't see how that would happen. That's all.
So if you're in range of me, I'll be in
If
range.
I'm in range of your front line, that doesn't mean you're in range of Bard.
My front line is bows.
So yeah, you're having bows in your front, which is then becomes heroic shoot and heroic shoot off essentially.
Yeah.
Looking past
Yeah.
the war, though, I think depending on how Adam were to play with his fatties, that is the fight for and his killing potential in combat. Not all of it, but a fair amount of it. And if Sam can cut through them, if he can isolate them or get one of the two heroes to, a few of them, then Sam's going to take away that, killing power quite quickly. And that's
yes. But the thing is, the difference in wounding on 4s and wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s, isn't that high. So against defense 5, it makes very little difference. Obviously, the fatties are still better. They win on 4s, but when I've got 2 ranks of guys winning on 5s with reroll 1s, that'll do it.
Yeah. Excluding obviously the matchup versus my list, because that's obviously very niche. I'll probably be the only person taking my list. I think it's just a sense of this list is just really good. I mean, 46 models at Fight 4 with a 6-inch banner from Sullivan, who is just one of the best value for points heroes in the game. Haradrim King is also one of the best King models in the game as well, having a mounted strength 4 person with a war spear. He can easily kill 2, like probably even better than Thorin and Bard could. So
no, I think he's trash. The only reason I'm taking him is because he can
really.
Yeah, I think you might be thinking of the Mahood King.
Oh, the Haradrim. Oh.
No, I'm thinking of the Haradrim King with a war with 3 attacks on the charge at strength 4 at basically strength 6.
He's definitely not trash.
Points.
He's not trash.
He's very good to have a second striker in there as well.
No, he doesn't strike. You think of the Mahood King has strike, 3 attacks, fight.
Sure he doesn't
5.
strike.
Yeah, he's got march and I think strength. Yeah, strength.
Do we need to consolidate the rulebook?
Go for it. But I was considering taking the Mahood King because the Mahood King is so much better than the Rod King.
Who are we looking at? Sorry, the Mahood.
Do you get the Fearless from the Mahood King as well?
That's the Mahood King.
Yeah.
Shall I tell you who is trash? Lurtz. I found out that I found out during the weekend that he only has 1 will, and I thought for the longest time he had 3.
I also thought he had 3. That's tragic.
Why do we all think he has 3? It's in the rulebook. I was literally flabbergasted when I found out. I was like,
that was so out of nowhere. I love it.
Was that when you asked me to borrow this exact?
Yeah, exactly. I was desperately trying
I need the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see why. Vince was tripping. The Mahood King is has
not Mahood, Haradrim.
Oh, Haradrim King.
Yeah, I think. To be fair, I might just be thinking because
and strength.
I see. I think it's because I'm thinking of the Khandish King as strike, and then I just thought all King profiles had strike for some reason.
Still wrong.
The Mahood King. The Mahood King in direct comparisons to Haradrim King is like I think it's 15 points more. He gets an extra attack, or 20 points more. He gets an impaling camel. He gets an extra attack. He gets an extra defense. He gets an extra strength. And he's got strike.
I still think the King's really good.
20 points.
I know what you mean. I think
it's like you get the impalers for free.
The Mahood Kings are really good, but they are better than Haradrim. However, I still think to have Sullivan who can charge in at strength 4 with 4 attacks, and the King that can charge it at essentially strength 6 with 3 attacks.
Yeah.
Chieftain's your move battery. Having 4 or 5 points of march if you really need it. I mean, I doubt you ever will, but having that is really good. You got a good. It's 7 might, which is still fairly good.
Thing that you have that he doesn't know, you've got a lot more might plus the free combats, and then also the free combats. So your 2, combat heroes are killing more than Adam's, probably.
Oh yeah.
So the reason I take the Haradrim King is purely for warband space. He provides
really points effective.
Yeah, exactly. So for 75 points, you're getting 15 slots. So that whole warband is like I think it's not even 200 points. It's about 200 points.
You've got almost max warbands, which is obviously really nice.
It's just a really good, healthy model count out Fight 4, and it
really is. Yeah.
It has to bring the fight to you, because otherwise you're gonna realistically outshoot most armies. And even when it gets to you, I mean, yeah, you're D4 everywhere, but you'll fight 4 with +1 to wound on your front line. You can just double combat with both your heroes and just completely break someone in the first 2 turns just as well as someone could do to you. So I think this is one. I think there's. I think did Liam say there's 4 serpent hordes or something?
Oh, I don't know.
I think a lot
I
of
think there's
people are
something
taking
like
this.
that as well. Yeah, because I think Clubley's got it as well.
Yeah,
It's going to be a
I think a
popular
lot.
Louis got
choice.
it allied.
It's going to be
A
a
lot of people
popular
are taking
choice.
this. So
at price level.
I was hoping we might have had a draw ahead of this episode and we could have theory crossed.
Yeah,
I think it's on tomorrow. Unfortunately, the draw.
I think I might start asking TOs potentially if we're going to do review episodes all the time, whether we can get one. Dewey has very kindly already agreed to come on
Was
the
he?
pod and
Yeah, that would be really good.
break down statistics and everything. So that is coming up. So I look forward to that one. But any closing comments on Adam's list?
I think this is going to perform the best out of all of our lists, to be honest.
I think I agree.
I'm
Say that for
expecting.
the tier
I think
list.
there's going to be a. I think there's going to be a podium here. personally.
600. This looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the tier list.
Yeah, very good. Okay, with that said, let's move on to my list. So I am yet again running the host of the Dragon Emperor Legion. First warband is obviously the Emperor himself, with 13 Black Dragons with Pike and Shield. The controversial 2 Black Dragon Warriors with bow.
What are they doing in there?
In the same warband, we have 3 Black Dragon Cataphracts, 1 with a drum. Then second warband, the last warband is Ratabi with 7 Easterlings with shield, 4 with pike and shield, 2 normal Eastern warriors with bow, and 2 acolytes for a total of 35 models. With 4 bows, 6 if you include the 2 throwing daggers at strength 3, which is quite key, and 6 might with Master of Owl. So I guess first thing I should maybe explain is I did mention in the chat, but obviously for the listeners, about the Black Dragons with bow. So you rarely see it. I've never actually tried it before, but the only reason is you've already got a lot of Black Dragons with pike. So you're getting your fight 5 where you want it to, really. But like, for example, last game, City of Kings was Storm the Camp with my Emperor. And when I had models in their camp, which I really didn't want to run away, the Emperor got tagged off like 2 turns in a row because I lost the heroic move roll off, so I couldn't use my ball by stand fast. If that's in another scenario and I have my bows on objectives, when I'm broken endgame, going up to Courage 5 is the type of thing which could be saving a game. So I had the slots to get the free upgrades in the warband. I thought that could be a fairly good thing. It might be pointless, but that was the idea behind it. Is it still up?
Definitely still a big thumbs down from me.
I'm not that bothered by it personally. I can definitely see the reasoning.
By the list or by the choice?
No, by the choice. I can definitely see the reasoning for why you do it. I think if you've not exactly got points to spend on otherwise, why wouldn't you? And like you said, I think in those key scenarios, that could win you the game.
Yeah, the margins to winning events, which is what we're all really trying to do, are usually tight. So,
if it can win you the game by just upgrading 1 warrior with bow to a Black Dragon, why wouldn't you? How I see it. Even if it's, I mean, it's what, 2 of them? 2 with bow, is it?
Yeah, 2. And I've got 2 without. So, like, but I just, if I'm losing the game because I'm not fight 5 in 1 or 2 more combats, then I've probably positioned my Black Dragons with pike in the wrong way anyway up until that point.
Yeah. So, if you're playing the Dom and you place your objectives and you have 1 on each,
exactly,
and you think, right, these need to stay.
Yeah.
Going from courage 5 being an elf compared to it's just you just feel that a little bit more secure.
Yeah. And you've got go on.
I just don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I guess you're sacrificing 2 models, but realistically, if you're playing an objective scenario, you're going to need those 2 models regardless of what they are, whether they're a pike, whether they're a bow, whether they're whatever. So
still valuable. Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it.
And the ball by stand fast is obviously really good. Lots of times it's going to come into effect and then you won't need the courage 5. But when you do, and you don't roll high enough on the courage and you're off by 1, it's happened to all of us. That's when you wish you had it. So, but I don't think it's, 35 models. It's okay. You know, it's fairly average. I don't think it's the best. Like I've got 2 maxed out warbands, but I've only got 2 heroes. They're both good heroes. It's fairly average might. It does have Master of Battle, but you need certain things to go your way for that to be effective. So that's potentially kind of like a bottleneck.
I think this is really, really good. Like I mean, we always aim for, well, I do anyway. I always aim to try and max warbands. I always feel that's a bit more efficient, and yeah, it's perfect. 18 out of 18, 15 out of 15. You got Rutabi. The Master Battle makes up for the low might, and it's just solid. I mean, it's Dragon Emperor Legion. You just got fight everywhere. D6 pikes, 35 models. I think this is really good. I don't know. I don't know why you think. Do you think it's better at other points?
I think that's the problem.
What's that, Sam?
I think that's the problem, is that it's other stuff is just better than it at this points level. Not to say it's bad, and not to say it doesn't do what Emperor always does. I
Like
just
what?
think it,
Like I think
Like-
at 600, this is as good as the Emperor gets. But yeah,
I think yeah.
at 600, you have other lists which are like Adams, who's like exploiting, you know, sort of more. Like,
But you massively outfight him.
yeah, looking at that particular matchup,
You're
I guess
D6. You're D6 and massively outfighting him. I don't really see what the problem is.
I guess Adam goes for all my lower defense on the way in. I maybe get there with like 30 models, depending on in the ways and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Thing is,
outfight,
you've got a drum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't
Like-
kill that much from shooting because it's 6s to wound. You'll keep your acolytes behind.
Yeah, I
even
think
with the D5. Sorry, yeah.
I think it's easy to kind of overestimate how much shooting does. On paper, yeah, you think, oh, okay, I've got this number of bows and it should do this number of kills, but it rarely, in my experience,
Hands out that way.
happens like as well as you like. It rarely goes as well as you think if you bring in mass shooting, because terrain and the deployments, it all changes things, and they're not all going to get good shots and a couple of rounds of poor dice. And this game is about, you know, fighting. Like,
I guess the only thing with this, with the Legion, with the Emperor Legion at this event, where it's the veto system, I haven't used the Emperor at a veto event before, because it's a very consistent list compared to like other lists which can really exploit the veto system. The Emperor might not be able to take advantage. You know, it might not get that much better compared to other lists. So it's, you know, the gap is being closed again.
It doesn't increase as much, but I think a problem you found when playing it before is against certain army lists, you struggle in certain scenarios. I think it takes that away from it, which I think is its only real matchup weakness.
Because I can get away from those scenarios, you mean?
Yeah, against certain armies.
Yeah. So, but then that's also helping. Yeah, it's helping everyone at the event, right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess it's whether the scenarios that I'm avoiding, is that benefiting me more than the things that my opponents are gaining by.
Oh, probably not.
They're better
because it's way too consistent for it to have that much of an impact.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the list, how you've wrote the list, is how any person taking the Emperor at 600 points would write it. It's just a case of, is it the optimal points level? So obviously lists peak out at certain points.
Yeah.
I don't think 600 is one of those for the Emperor. Yes, I mean it's still very good. Bearing in mind it's 35 fight to 5 models.
Yeah. It can easily win the
With-
event. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's
I
no
think
frills or gimmicks really going on.
I think obviously the veto system doesn't benefit it as much as it benefits other armies, which, you know, you guys touched upon. It's essentially, if people have good armies against this at, you know, where like some armies just shine at better points levels, and I just don't think this
I don't know. This is
does.
just
There's nothing
so
special, I
consistent.
think.
So consistent,
It
so
is.
reliable.
I think 600 points is a weird points level where you still want shooting, because shooting is pretty prevalent at low points, and you obviously want as high model count as possible, because again it's like it's an in between it's like an in between low points and mid points. It's in that odd bracket where you don't really know. You want to get best of both worlds, but it's hard to do that. And some lists do that better than others, and I don't think Emperor does.
Yeah, this isn't really its perfect sort of sweet spot. Like Ali's event the other week, I get the 3 core heroes as the base, and then I get really high model count with some tricks as well, like the Cav and some acolytes and stuff. I get Fury, like all this sort of thing, potential to one-shot banners. So I get tricks and I get models, where here I sacrifice tricks. Obviously, everyone's having to sacrifice things, but all I'm left with really is a bare bones pike block and Master of Battle, really. So
I'd wonder if taking,
which is very good. I'm not, yeah,
it's really good. I just wonder if taking normal Easterlings is better at this points level.
No.
It's something I haven't looked at. It may be.
No, I don't think so. I think the fact that the thing is, the Emperor in general buffs high points armies more. But if you just think about what the Emperor really is, he's basically providing what, 60, 70 points for free. If you think about what he's doing, he's like a Suladan but on drugs.
Cracked out Sully on a chair.
He's a Suladan or an Imrahil, but better. Because at the end of the day, he can always then dismount in the last 2 turns of the game or whatever. You've got the highest fight army that you'll see. I don't think we'll see much fight 6 there. We might see an elf army, which is like Kirdan and Gilgalad with some fight 6 guys, but
who might that be, Adam?
Pardon?
Who might be bringing that?
Yeah, just to ask, you mentioned about dismounting. Just a general open question. What are times outside of like whole ground when you want to boost model count?
Commander battlefield.
Commander battlefield.
Like any last minute objective grab.
Domination.
It doesn't affect your breakpoint, but it will impact your 25%.
Capture and control, domination, breakthrough.
I guess just like, are there specific not scenarios as in like the game types, but as in, are there certain situations in games where,
depend,
you would go for the play that anyone can think of?
Yeah, it's like if in whole ground, if like you've got equal models in the middle.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's whole ground is a good example.
That's really all I've done it in, and I'm just wondering. I know that you can do it like.
I think that's its only real utility.
If you don't want 25%ed, and that's like really key. Like if the game's about to end, but one more turn and you win, then you dismount.
Yeah.
But I think there's another scenario in the sense of if you play against an assassination, and you combat and then dismount to get into your target. That's a scenario where you would.
Yeah.
Because
if anyone wondering, the Black Dragons do not get to move as part of the heroic combat as ruled by Mr. J. Clare himself at the finale.
Yeah, I'm just
embarrassed quite a lot. Anyway.
I think this is good. It's as best as you're gonna get with the Emperor. I just don't think it is. It's quite there at 600. I think your 700, your 750 is where it really, 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 really shines. But
the thing is, I think what we're doing is we're
splitting hairs.
We're judging the this list quite harshly because we know it's amazing and it's already kind of I'd say a step above other armies. We're just trying to find ways to criticize this particular list and saying that it's actually better at high points. But this list is still, I think, better than most of 600, if not all.
Yeah.
I guess we're comparing it against the ones that we see being in the upper echelon at the event rather than all the lists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think about what it's going to be facing to win potentially.
Yeah, the event. But
we're comparing it to itself rather than like other armies.
Yeah, I agree what you're saying, that when comparing it to the whole field, it is definitely very strong.
Yeah.
I'm also comparing it to its counterparts in the sense of you have, say, obviously Ben Haslam. He has run 600-point Easterlings with Rutavi, Brogier, and Captain, and he's done fairly well with it. I mean, very well, to be honest. And he's had it's like 39 models with those three. Yeah, you don't get 5/5, but you're still 39 models jumping up the board at D6 with an extra mic point and broad gear potential. So I guess I'm kind of comparing it to that aspect as well. Like, is the Emperor that necessary? Like, obviously, it's a really good model, and it's very, very, very. I mean, it's just super solid. But do you gain more from not taking it? Is it a bit of a trap card? Is it the only way to run it? Is it
You're
only
my
way to
trap
run?
card.
Yeah, is the only way to run Easterlings now? Which I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think in answer to your question, no, it's maybe not the only way to run it. But in what you say about, do you lose more or do you gain enough through the Emperor Legion in comparison to the list that you just described, with like 39 models and a captain? I think losing 4 models and the potential that you have with a captain with the drum march combo and another strength 4 hero piercing strength 5 with a 2-round weapon, you're basically trading that for the 12-inch banner and the 5/5 and a 5/6 hero with an Elven-made weapon. Yes, that hero, that sounds really good on paper, but it struggles to actually have a high, killing potential in most games. I think still the 12-inch banner and the 5/5 is worth that trade-off in the vast majority of situations.
That's incredible. 5/5 is exactly where you want to be in the meta.
Just comes into a scenario of
can't work, because it clearly does. I just think overall you're going to have a better time in 80% of situations with this, probably.
We'll have to see. Let's see how you do it, where it comes, what you play against, and so
how I do. I have no excuses at this point. I've used it quite a lot. So we'll see. So moving on, we do have a very similar list from Ashley, who we were hoping was going to be here with us. He has not been able to join us, so we are going to run through his list very briefly, as it's sort of the same as mine, essentially, with a few key differences. This started out as my list, and then he changed it. In a way, he got it incorrect, and then he blamed me, so thumbs down to Ash for that one. But he came up with a list, but he still got it wrong because it is 3 points down. So this list that you're looking at is not 600 points. It's 597 points.
What an idiot.
And he just wants to give everyone else a chance.
He's just, he's a wally. So, but basically the differences are he has an extra 2 black dragons with pike, as I took the 2 with bow. He has axes on his front line, and he doesn't have, he's got axes on 2 of his cav as well, and he doesn't have the 2 acolytes, but he's a model less. So he's 34. Oh, and also I have 4 bows as opposed to his 2. So there's a fair few subtle differences. It's mostly the same list, but what do we think about the changes?
So if you play him, you'll be out shooting him, and he'll have to come to you.
He will indeed.
Essentially, do axes matter? That's the answer.
Yeah,
that's the question.
So I think, like I said, having used it at quite a lot of events now, not only because it seems like a bit of a flavor, but I do think it's worth taking them. I just don't have them yet. I'm thinking more and more that I'm gonna get them. I just haven't got around to it. But yeah, sometimes you run into lists which you feel that you should beat, but they're D6 lists and you just don't kill. And having the option to pierce in combats where the numbers say that you can get away with it, not being able to pierce is then really annoying. So I think I agree. Obviously, so there's obviously this case where you kind of always want to be at an even model count. Yours isn't, which, I mean, it's very, very slight. It's not a major difference. But I think going to one less model, have an even model count, so you're still, even if you go to 33, for example, you're still at the same break. It's, I think, just the strength 4 potential maybe does outweigh it. It'll be interesting to see how, if the strength 4, if he does play against D6 and he really does need that strength 4 or not. Obviously it's very matchup dependent.
But yeah, it's very similar. It's all the good points that we said about your list. It's just a case of, it does it optimize well at 600. I think again, it's how to write this list if you're going to use it, but is there stuff better than it? It's essentially the only question. And again, we'll see how you two kind of do.
How we do, yeah. I don't think there's much more to say. Anyone else? Any closing comments?
It doesn't have the two black dragon bowmen, which are game winning. So
that will win me.
That will be the difference.
That is generally one thing that I think your list definitely does have over Ashes. I think because he has what, even if he has 3 points spare, so he upgrades one of those to Black Dragon. It's like,
yeah,
I just do think it's good.
Yeah. It was actually Ash.
I think yours just more versatile, Elliot.
Yeah, with the acolytes as well. The strength 3 on a shooting and on a range weapon. Yes, it's a throwing weapon, but being able to, let's say I play against you, Sam, I can, I can shoot into my own combat with strength 3 and strength 2. So
a lucky shot can win you a game.
Really can.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So if there's no other comments, we are going to move on to the final part of this podcast, which should have mentioned at the start, but we didn't. So if you've made it this far, thank you. Which is going to be a tier list, which I'm hoping you guys can see.
Nope.
No?
Not yet.
Stop, because that shouldn't have happened.
I got really confused for a second then. I forgot Vince wasn't coming. I was expecting his list to come up.
You forgot he wasn't Eminem.
Forgot he wasn't Eminem.
It's like, wait, who's that? Yeah, so we are going to be going through a tier list just like we did in the City of Kings preview, and ranking everyone's list for our audio listeners. If you haven't listened to the Gollum's Gamers podcast before, our ranking system is a little bit different. So the highest, the best lists are going to be in our lemon category, and descending from there, we have silly, nervous, dog. And this week I've reverted from Chelsea back to Man United. We'll see what the viewers think about the change, but it's a big thumbs up from Sam to start off, which is a good thing. So starting off, we do have Sam's list, the survivors.
Why is it always me that starts it's always me that starts the tier list?
I use like the template from the last one, so yours was at the front before.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So Sam's list, who wants to kick us off? Where are we going?
Silly, nervous.
That's where we had it last time.
Yeah, but it's actually better this time as well. You've got the 2 hitters which you always needed, and it's less points. The problem at high points is you struggled with your matchups against Fight 4. I think you're going to find Fight 4 this time, but if people are taking Fight 4, unless they're taking Ugluk Scouts, their numbers aren't going to be massive.
Yeah, agreed.
Plus, you'll cream through them with your 2 Fight 6 combating heroes with Might aplenty.
Fight 4 is much less a problem with this list compared to my previous one.
I think it's top of silly, nervous.
Are we ranking these, in comparison to our lists, or just how we think they'll do at the event? Or
I'm just saying that compared to what I would expect of a 600 point list.
Yeah.
Okay, so against all other lists.
This is against all lists. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking top silly, nervous probably as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if it belongs at the top of silly, nervous, but it's definitely in that area.
So by that metric then, so last time we had the Dragon Emperor in lemon, but as a 600-point Dragon Emperor list.
Exactly.
I would say that survivors at 600 could potentially.
But it's definitely not a lemon list.
It's not a lemon list though at 600.
You can't just say because the Dragon Emperor isn't lemon, that becomes lemon.
I guess it would be that if we were only ranking it against our lists.
Yeah.
So is everyone happy with seeing nervous top?
Yep, I think we will agree.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So the way I've done the Dragon Emperor, so Ash, his list is this one. Mine is the one with the acolytes, because that's the difference. So Ash's version of the Emperor.
I will just add Ash's opinion for my list.
Yes.
Because obviously, because it's my list, I won't say whether I think it's wherever, right? Or does that matter?
No, yeah. But if you have Ash's take, that would.
So Ash said my list would be bottom of lemon.
That's crazy.
Compared to the whole field. Yeah, not just. Yeah.
I think that's just because he's taking Dragon Emp, though.
I think he's comparing it to the whole field and our list, because what did we compare last time?
I can't remember. That's what I was
I
trying
honestly don't remember. Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think we compared lists between ourselves, didn't we? Because we said that people were like, oh, my list would beat Vince's, so that means it's better.
No, I don't think so, because if we all brought dog lists, it doesn't mean that one of us is going to be lemon. That's not how it
Yeah,
works. It's like it's just how we think it is, just in general, like overall,
Yeah, I
compared
think
to everything.
we thought about like James's list and how it would do at
Yeah.
the event versus everything.
I
Yeah.
think we're overcomplicating it. Just
Okay, yeah.
if we think what we
So-
think is, yeah.
So Ash said bottom of lemon, but majority of people were going to be silly nervous. So I mean, it's not going to change. But that was his take.
That's his take.
So I would put in lemon anything which I look at and just go, oh man,
I don't want to play that.
I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
Look, your list, it's really, really tough. Like those two heroes are probably going to affect me the least compared to anyone you face.
Me.
And I'm still scared of it.
Mhm.
Because they can kill 8 guys a turn, or more importantly, they can go through a few guys and get into Suladan, which for me is a bigger issue. I think it's really scary for me. And I think for your average person there who's taking, I don't know what they're taking, Mordor or Isengard or Minas Tirith, I think it's gross.
Sounds like a silly nervous list. So if we're all happy, moving on, we do have Ash's Emperor list. Thoughts?
Yeah, I still personally think both Dragon Emperor lists are lemon. I mean, they're the same list. I think Dragon Emperor, even at 600, it's still a lemon list.
I think Sam's list is better than.
I'm less inclined for lemon this time.
I totally disagree with lemon for this version.
Yeah.
I think, to me,
It's still the
Ash's list goes. So Ash's list would be just below mine, and then Elliot's list would be just below Ash's.
So you think
In
Ash's
silly
list is better
nervous.
than mine because of the strength 4? Yeah.
Yes.
That's really the main,
I
difference.
think it has potential to be better than yours, just for D6, I guess.
I mean, if we're comparing the two, I feel like there's hardly any difference.
There
The
is.
strength 4 is a big thing. Yeah, I don't think you're.
Like
The
it's
strength
it's
4
barely
definitely can't be underestimated.
okay, fine, but yeah.
We might as well do both Emperor lists now while we're here then. So so are we thinking like this?
How many strength 4 guys does he have? Like how many axes?
He's got 9.
He's 3 points under, so it's whether he can get whether he can use the rest of the points. So
I think having them on the 2 cav is so powerful as well.
he's already got them on.
Yeah.
The thing with axes is it's not free strength.
Yeah, that's
4.
what I mean.
Like it's you do give up your high defense. You could just botch and then die more easily because you went for the piercing strike. Like
But you talk about Easterlings who have a reroll, fight 5,
Yeah.
and 2 pikes behind. And if they're on the acolytes, then you're talking about 5 attacks.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, where if you're piercing it in the fights where the numbers say it is, fairly
well, then
safe.
you're probably gonna kill anyway.
But that's the issue I've had with the Easterlings, where sometimes you'll play against an army that you think you should win against. You have more dice. You'll fight your higher fight. So if they're like fight 3, I'm thinking of Morannons mostly and stuff. You think you could win and kill with weight of dice, and then it doesn't happen, and you're like, really?
Yeah, I can see the argument both ways, but I feel like it's such a minor issue. I think it's very, very close either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it is close. It's just, I guess that is like the one thing about the two that we can compare and split them. So are we thinking like that? Are we happy?
I honestly think yours is better, Elliot, to be honest.
Why, James?
I think the versatility of models just allows for more.
Do you have a couple
more
acolytes?
plays?
So when you say versatility, it's the couple acolytes, the courage 5 bows, and more bows.
It just gives you more winning potential.
But then Ash does have strength 4, so
That's the thing. I can totally see. I can totally see Elliot's reasonings for his being better because of the courage 5 bows and because of the acolytes.
Yeah,
Wait,
there's only a couple, but if
just
you use
think-
them right,
I just
So-
think the strength 4 is so good.
yeah. I
But
think
no one else thinks this is lemon. I'm surprised.
No,
I
no
don't.
way.
Not a 600.
Do we rate Bro Gear that highly? Is that what it is? Is it Bro Gear?
No, it's the number of
Oh, yeah.
models that are benefiting from all the buffs.
Yeah,
And it's not like
Bro
Broadgate
Gear
as
is
a
so good as well.
model, it's just the toolkit, like as in, like you look at the profile and you're like, okay, it's a caster, costs quite a lot of points, but like it's just the potential in lots of different scenarios and matchups of what it can bring. Like if you're playing against Terra, so Angmar elves and stuff with Aura of Dismay, the Fury, but then you can be more offensive with it as well. So it's just quite a versatile toolkit. That he brings.
Okay.
So yeah, it seems like we're fairly conclusive on that sort of ranking. So next we do have Adam's list.
lemon.
What do we think?
Yeah, I think this is lemon.
I think this is better than the other three.
Yeah.
And probably a tier.
Ash, as you probably guys have realised, Ash also thought this was lemon. His list went Adam's lemon, mine bottom of lemon. He then said his is silly nervous. Elliot's is just below in silly nervous because it's essentially the same list, but he thinks his list just pips yours, and then he puts James's list in Man United.
Who saw that coming?
No, he actually said nervous for your list.
Yeah.
So I think my list is good. Obviously, I would say that, but I think the thing that doesn't suit me is if this were a vanilla tournament, I think it's great. I don't think the veto suits me because I have a reasonably good leader, like Killy leader. I have a reasonably good numbered account. Everything is reasonably good.
Yeah, you're already really good at pretty much everything. Like you're not getting anything from the skew of the veto.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a very good point.
I still think it's lemon.
Oh,
As a
yeah,
list
it's definitely
itself.
still lemon, but
One thing to ask about Ash, Sam, did he give you any indication as to why he didn't take something fairly similar or his Mordor Serpent Hordes?
It doesn't really work at 600 points, taking Mordor or Saladin and the Witch King, unless
he's just not willing to change
basically
the way he builds.
the only reason it works at 600 is if you take more of the elite troops from Serpent Horde, i.e., your Fatties and your Watchers of Kana. However, Ash doesn't own any Fatties or Watchers of Kana, so
very surprising. You guys
unless
own
you're
anything?
unless you're going to take a Fell Beast, which Ash doesn't really rate, it's a bit of a tricky one to slot into.
Yeah.
So that's essentially why he hasn't taken his Mordor Harad love, essentially.
So the list I was going to take is the one that I came second at Pontefract with the 80 about 2 months ago. And it's literally just 2 full warbands, one with Suladan and one with Witch King. And that was 650, so I took a Witch King on Fellbeast. But this you'd take just the horse. And you can do it because you take like 7 fatties and then 7 bow spear, 2 riders and 2 regular bows. So that's 18 models. And then you also take 9 Black Numenorians and 9 Morannons with Spear Shield. Job done. That's 600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he doesn't. I guess he kind of likes having the Black Num Shield Wall with the strength, with the he likes his whole shield wall being Terran, not just part of it, because that makes the D4 portion a lot squishier and they die a lot faster, which I guess he prefers the D6, redundancy of not dying as fast.
Absolutely.
Which is totally reasonable. So I can see why he's taken.
That's why I went away from that list because I was going to take that, and then I decided on this list just for the fact that it's just like 15, well, not 15, but like 13 more models.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really strong. And with the veto, yeah, it's gonna
Mm.
go into that.
I think it's a lemon.
Definitely.
If we're happy with lemon, let's move on. Finally, we do have the Woes' list. What are everyone's thoughts?
I'm sorry, James. This is dog.
No,
Dog for James.
I would give James more credit than Dog for this list. I regret to say.
Regret to
Not
say.
nervous. Come on.
So
Don't-
that's quite important. Are we talking about James's capability with the list or the list?
My capability takes it to lemon instantly.
Or are we talking about the list used by any player against all the other lists that we could see at 600?
I'm saying this list with veto scenarios at this event, nervous.
I think when we're rating these, I think we assume that they're all played at the same, but at the same level.
I think we said
by the
that
same
last
player.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it was being used by competent players.
Yeah, all used by good
We
people.
did say that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Why does
I
this
think
only come up in my section? I'd say I am a competent player.
I think most people, well, not most people, but like I think a fair amount of people at most events using this, it could be a dog list. But in
True.
the way that we
But
framed
I'm pretty sure it's performed very highly from very good players events before.
well, that's what we're then saying. Yeah, that if it's being used by competent players, then I think it's a nervous list.
It's done well at 450. Again, but that's just I think just does better at that points level.
Does anyone know the last event it podiumed over here?
Probably into the
I
west.
think it was into the West a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Really? Not the one we were at.
No.
No.
Yeah, I think at 450 it's way better, but 600, I mean,
It just keeps scaling, doesn't it?
it's not a nervous list.
It doesn't scale. Just does not scale.
It scales from the fact
is
you literally
nervous?
just get more and more.
You're gonna
What
have
is
like
nervous?
5 ranks of these lads in like a
Yeah,
bottleneck.
that totally happened to me at Exeter. Like I
when I
had 50
say-
models and I had 3 ranks.
But when I say bottleneck, I'm talking about like a 10-inch bottleneck. It's not even like that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
you've got
is
like
not
30
nervous.
models in the bottleneck and you run the other 30 around the sides.
They're gonna take forever to get there.
That's right.
If you guys think what is in ratio of wins to losses, what is considered nervous?
3-3.
50-50.
So yeah,
like,
this is a nervous
yeah.
list then.
Yeah, it is.
So,
a nervous list.
I'll tell you why I think it's nervous.
Really? 3-3 is 50 is nervous.
That is the middle
Yeah.
tier. Yeah, and that's kind of
I'll tell you why I think it's a nervous list. Is because you know when you turn up at a table and the opponent has Gothmog's Legion with a troll,
Mm.
you walk there and you just immediately start smiling.
Mm.
Right now, that's dog or Man United, up to you. I'd put it bottom of dog. You walk up to the table, you see what is it, 60 Woses?
Yeah.
I'm still smiling.
I'm not smiling. I'm smiling, but I'm like, what the actual
Yeah.
bleep? It's not
It's
like
a little
I'm
curveball,
smiling,
isn't it?
laughing.
some people
You
are going to
can't-
never read the rules before, and they are going to start immediately tripping, and James is just going to be licking his chops.
You can't play this list. You can't play against this list how you generally play the game. And if people do, they do just lose.
And we get pooped on.
And
James is going to start
I
rolling
think-
mad sixes.
I think that's just how
Well, I told you I've done the statistics and it works out pretty well against most armies.
Which dice do you use for these rolls, James? Is it those nervous
Dale and Rivendell. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Come on.
I think it's totally a 3-3 army. If you
I think the veto
get
can push it further though.
I think
if you get good veto and good matchups, you can definitely go 4-2. But that's requiring some luck,
Oh,
some
definitely.
fairly lovely luck.
But I think if you got some good luck, you could obliterate quite a lot of people with this.
So where you say
Yeah.
you can go 4-2, Sam, are you capping it at 4-2? You crushing James'
Yes.
dreams of podiuming
Yeah.
with Woses?
Nah,
James,
I think
not
when
having it.
6-0
This list-
potential easy.
this list literally comes down to your opponent knowing what to do and knowing when to march forward into one portion of your line so that only 1/4 of your woes is actually shooting that turn. Knowing that is what's going to kill this list, not the scenarios or not the actual what you're playing against. That's my opinion on it.
See the
I think if you
argument.
play against two of those people at an event when you're winning, say if you win your first two and someone else wins first two, you could most likely play one of those, and then you lose, and then you win your next two. You could then, or you win your next one, you're 3-1. You could again play against that kind of person. So I think that's when it falls.
Yeah, I think where you said about like matchups and scenarios, I think at least in my experience, and I consume a fair amount of like SPG content, and I talk to people at events and stuff. Obviously, people talk a lot about scenario and and the matchup, but I think sometimes people sleep on the board you're playing on. Such a key part of every game, equally so, I would say, to the matchup and the scenario. The board is everything, really. So boards are going to be a very big part of James's weekend. So
definitely, it's very key on how you play around terrain, because every model has Stalk Unseen as well, which makes a huge difference.
And it isn't even for like you and how you play off of it, but it's how your opponent's going to play off of it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it open? Where are the lanes on the board? It's you've got those three: the scenario, the matchup, and the board are three very key things in every game that you're going to need to do above average over all 6 games.
Stalk Unseen's good, but you're not realistically going to be able to hide 60 Wozers.
No, but you don't need to.
Like, they'll be able to.
It's not the idea.
Some.
Yeah, it's to control where the shots are and when they engage, where they engage.
You can control someone's focus of their army by what they can see, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good, but that's why I think this is like way better at lower points, because actually having too many Wozers is almost to your disadvantage in a way.
Yeah, that is the main skill of the positioning, is being able to utilize your high models.
It's definitely better at 450, but I think it becomes at 450. It's like top of nervous, bordering silly nervous, and I'll let it be there.
You think this is silly nervous at 450?
I think you could make an argument for this being if there was veto at 450, yes, it's silly nervous guaranteed.
That's a bomb drop.
Change
so are we saying that this isn't actually? It looks like it's at the top of nervous, but are we actually saying it's somewhere down here? If there were more lists,
it's just nervous. It's just nervous.
Yeah,
it's just in there. Doesn't need to be too high. Doesn't need to be too low. Just there.
Nervous category. Okay, so that is the tier list. Any closing comments on the preview episode, fellas?
Is this how everyone's tier list, or what they thought it would look like?
I haven't really put much thought into it.
All I'm going to say is good luck, Sam, against Adam, and good luck, Elliot, against Ash.
Ash of the Titans this weekend. Well, those
are my predicted matchups.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is coming up across 2 great beasts who's just going to trample over my army.
Yeah, you can win them pretty easy with your 22 bows, though, and your poison.
One of us is going
to trample in a way.
100%. We will.
I would personally, I think because of what comes up at 600 points, I personally would have put my list. I would agree with Ash and put it in the very bottom of lemon, like teetering, like only just because I think of like Adam's list doesn't benefit from the veto as much. It still benefits from it, but not as much as it could. But I think mine does just that little bit more, which will help me in some scenarios a lot, or in some matchups a lot. There's only a few things I think, what the hell am I going to do? Everything else I feel like I have a fairly good shot at beating.
I'd agree.
I don't personally think it would belong in lemon, just because of the actual warbands and utilization of the points. I think that's
also
a huge
no
difference.
No shield. Is that what you mean?
No Orcus, no shield. Hilda's got 4 models in her warband.
I think that's the thing with my list I think because when having a warband with not many models in with Lake Town doesn't really make a difference. because you have enough might to come on the board if you're in Maelstrom you don't really care for, so you can just spend your might, and then it's always nice to know where to position Bard by just dropping a 4 warband thing to then know whereabouts on the lines that you want Bard to go in and where Thorin to go in, because otherwise if you position Hilda's 12 or Hilda's 6 or 7 and then Bard's 15, it becomes very predictable.
Yeah, I meant more just for the efficiency of the points and numbers and things rather than the actual play behind them.
Why did it change in the numbers aspect?
Well, just for example, like the fact that she's got a lot of warband space spare and it's not being used, it's like
compared to some
I see.
Adams, where
compared
it's
to
like
the
most
the Dragonimps have
optimized.
perfect warbands. Like,
yeah, it's essentially I've taken a bigger hero for
just
10
a little
models.
bit messy.
So do I think Thorin will make up 10 models worth of points or worth of value?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
He's got 12.5 point models.
No, as in but because if I take 10 models, I've already got 4 in Hilda's Warband, so I have to take another hero.
Yeah, but you would anyway, wouldn't you?
No,
Thorin's great for his points.
Yeah, I personally would put it in the very bottom of Lemon. I can totally understand why you guys have voted silly nervous. I mean, I say this and I'm gonna fucking go 1 and 5 at the weekend, so it'll be hilarious. But
See what's going to happen again.
So
We'll see.
are we leaving it? Like James and I want to leave it where it is. Adam and Vince,
Yeah, I mean,
where it is.
I don't think why I'm going to say it's going to change much. We've all decided that James's list is nervous.
Some would say
Vince
better
thinks
than
it's
that,
dog.
but
That is the shocker, I think. Here, takeaway.
So
I've done better than last time. So
I mean, bear in mind it went 2 and 2 at a non-beta event.
yeah, that was me having never used the list before as well.
You're having a laugh at 80. Yeah, you're locked for this weekend.
With some not great scenarios. So
Run a revenge.
How's it gone in practice games? Like, I'm
I
guessing...
haven't used it ever in a practice game.
Oh, okay, fine.
Those were literally my first games.
Tournament only player right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I had planned to use it in the South Wales League, but I actually just never got around to actually playing in it. Because that was also at 600 points.
That would have been a good stomping ground. Okay, so if there aren't any more changes from anyone,
Just say that I think I've never actually played Pure Harad apart from one tournament last year, War. I played them 3 times, and I feel like it's a really good list, but I just feel like it does nothing special. It does, like, I'm talking about my list. I think it's good.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's lemon. But if you guys think it's lemon, then
I think we're overrating it. Like, it is good, but it's not lemon.
I don't think there's anything you can fault it on which makes it lemon.
I actually think the Bard one is better. I would actually put mine at the bottom of Silly Nervous, personally.
No, I think you beat the.
I think you're doing yourself an injustice, Adam.
I mean, bottom of Silly Nervous is still very good.
Yeah, but it's not where it belongs.
Like, I am a little bit dubious of it being above Dragon Emperor. I don't know.
Dubious.
Dubious.
I think Adam crushes mine and Ash's lists.
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
Yeah.
Why though? Why do you think it crushes it? Because
So basically, Ash and I get to combat with roughly 30 models, probably.
It's scenario dependent. That's what it is.
Adam's got 16 more models, and he's, killing a lot with the troops.
What fights am I winning though? Because unless it's a completely open field, I'm not going to trap you.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating your list, Elliot. I think.
Yeah, for sure. You got 5 pikes.
I think
You
it's
got 5 and strength 3, which is the weakness of this list.
I think it's the difference.
You forget that these are defense 4 guys. Like, they do die.
I think it's the difference in the model count, and that Adam still has 2 mounted heroes at high strength, which can.
I'm not sending them into combat because or maybe the king, but why would I send Suladan into combat against 5 Eastlings?
Yeah, he's horrible against.
Yeah,
He's
but
atrocious.
if you have the chieftain, even if it's over 2 turns, if you have the chieftain and Sully combined, even if Sully has to strike, if they kill 8.
No, how? Because if I send the king in, I've got less attacks than you and the same fight.
Depending on obviously when you do it, let's say you win priority and you can split off pikes, and it's just him going in on 2 rather than like into the pike block with the supports. I just think there's a way that you can win priority and then split things off where you can have a big turn of combat, and that's really detrimental to me with what is going to be roughly 16 fewer models.
It depends how good you are structuring your pike block, because
that depends on the board and the scenario and like whether it is just
because there's a lot of scenarios where you're going to start close, and once the lines clash, you're out fighting him massively. You can even send the Emperor in, killing 2 guys a turn. He's not scared of dying, whereas Suladan can't do the same. Brad King, he's fight 5. So your basic troops are fight 5. He's not going to be comfortable sending him in either.
I think you're thinking it's going to be worse than it is, Elliot.
You grind him out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be very easy for Adam to literally pull apart the Dragon Emperor across the board.
He's got he's got a drum. Yeah, I have to use my bow as well, but
that's what I'm saying.
If you're relying on bows, then
and then he loses that fight 5, and it's kind of like
you're not relying on the bows, but you've got a very good amount of bows to do probably on average a fair amount of damage. If I'm getting to you with 30 models, 60 models is quite a big difference.
Yeah,
I don't think he's killing 5 though.
Yeah.
And with the reroll ones,
I reckon so.
I think he's killing.
You deploy
4 at least.
You deploy 24 and you drum 1 turn. He kills 2 on average, maybe 3 if he's lucky.
Yeah, so Ash's list now has 32, so he's got 14 more models.
Yeah, but then you're in his face, and if you're playing a mission where, unless you're literally playing Lords to the Death and not in contest, like Lords to the Death assassination, there's not really other ones where he can't not move up the board.
Yeah.
As you
a lot
gain
of the
ball
scenarios
control,
will punish you for deploying so far back.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an awful matchup, but I think in most cases the difference in model count is going to be quite big.
This is the thing with the Dragon Emperor. Like, I don't think that there are actually like any true bad matchups.
Yeah, not like really bad ones. No, not really.
There definitely is. Yeah,
there definitely is.
Like what?
Assault, my list.
Okay, Assault. Okay.
Another 11 list
is an outlier because of the ballista.
If for example, if someone has 5 heroes that go in, like say if Adam's king had strike, then Saladin and the king go in and strike killed 4.
Wait, so we imagine
they do that over 2 turns.
Yeah,
I'll make up new profiles for this month. Yeah,
but he does
some lists.
Let's imagine that the Eastlings actually fight 6.
Let's imagine Frodo was a Balrog. Yeah.
No, like say the Witch King Saladin list where you go in.
Let's imagine the Varrock defense 7.
Yeah, you go in strike Witch King Saladin
actually had a Mahud King instead.
Let's imagine Frodo's Balrog.
I'm painting the wrong model here.
Adam, why didn't you take a Mahud King?
Because I don't have any Mahud, and also the Warriors of Mahud are more expensive in points. My plan is just to spam. I wanted to take a Chieftain and a Taskmaster, but at this point it doesn't work.
Sam, you were making a point. Sorry.
I was just saying that if you have a Witch King or Saladin and like you just have 2 striking heroes and they kill 4 these things just for free. That is like
what I'm saying is if Adam does that over 2 turns, it's basically what Sam's doing with Bard and Thorin, but just a bit slower. But it's still lots of
Still enough.
dead, which to me are quite precious. Yes, I don't have really low model count, but if 8 of my guys die and I have a turn where I don't really kill that many of Adam's, then suddenly I'm really not feeling very good.
Both of you have plays that you can do against each other, which it'll be an interesting game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so any closing comments, or are we good to go? Okay, so
I think it all comes down
Good.
to player skill. Just gonna say that.
Yeah. Who do we actually is this what we think the actual order of our placings will be?
Ooh. So much of it depends on what we all face into and everything. So
Yeah.
in a perfect world, yes, because this is how we rank the lists, but dice at the end of the day.
Indeed. And that's why I think the Dragon Emperors will overtake Sam's list, personally.
That 12-inch banner. But Sam has one.
Certainly does, but
12-inch
We'll
banner
see.
on Fight 5 is very efficient. Yeah. Okay, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. We will have a post-event review on how we all got on. So if you're curious where we finish with the lists, stay tuned for that episode. We'll be coming out sometime in the following week. But thank you for watching episode 4 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast.